Hi, and welcome to another episode of Kuntarkis. My name is Michael Yon, and this is another casual Kuntarkis where we discuss many different things, including and starting with a discussion that Kuntarkis had with the Nipulans, his seventh dimensional friends.
I was with Yinika in Vimera, not last night, the night before, and we were just sitting and talking. We're having a great talk again, and I was really impressed with the beings coming up to me and actually saying, "Kuntarkis, it is so nice to see you again. We haven't seen you since the waterfall was installed." That's what they said to me, and I said, "Oh, was it that long ago?" Yes, yes. It is absolutely a miracle that was brought back here. But we're having a great old discussion about different things, and I really enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm learning a lot, Michael, and this is something that I think we as a species um, don't put enough energy into. And what we don't realize, when we live life, what we believe is our reality, the only reason we believe it's our reality is because of our conditioning. I said to, oh, sorry, no, it was Vimera saying to me the other night. She says, "Kuntarkis, I just have a little question." And I said, "Please ask." She said, oh, Vimera said, "What reality do you live in?" I said, "Mine." And she said, oh, again, I keep saying she said, is it, I said, sorry, I'm getting confused here. I said, "It's my reality." "So you create your reality?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Do you create your reality from your conditioning, or do you create your reality from your mind?" And I said, "From my mind, always." There was a time long ago, I used to always create it from my conditioning, which is my logical thinking. But no, I don't do that anymore. I'm very aware of what we create through our conditioning. And she says, "So most of the human species are still creating from their conditioning." I said, "Yes," because I said they're dumbed out because of all the toxic poison that are within their bodies. And until they can dispose of that and take some sort of recognition that this is what's happening to them and who is causing it, I said they're not going to grow beyond what their conditioned reality actually is. She just smiled and understood exactly what I was saying. And that's the truth. We have to pull ourselves out, or we're just going to keep incarnating over and over again and living the same so-called conditioned reality. And nothing will ever change except your surroundings, your circumstances, maybe another family, maybe another situation. It's the circumstances, but it's not actual conscious growth. That's the big issue.
Yeah, wow, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like it. It makes me think of those, I guess, that when they want to manifest, they think, well, this is the thing I want to manifest, and they focus on that because at least it's something different that's not in their life, and they dwell on it a lot until maybe it comes to pass. I don't know whether you think that's still conscious growth, but at least it's some kind of change in their life.
Depending on their level of understanding, that can be classed as conscious growth, yes.
Mm.
Well, one of the things that I discovered, this is me, right? This is no one else except me. What I discovered in my existence, in my human reality, the more you use your imagination being your greatest gift, that is the beginning of transformation to a higher level of understanding within yourself, not within others, but within yourself. the whole purpose of evolution is not about an entire species or race. It is about the individual. Because when you grow consciously in your thinking, in your reality, you become the living example, and others begin to look and monitor themselves, and more likely will change also. But it starts with us as individuals, not as a total society, because everyone thinks differently. Now, with the Nakaron race, and well, let me just use the Nakaron, they can think on a complete self-conscious understanding or as a complete nation in their thinking. They have no separation of that understanding. We here, we follow everybody else, and we believe what we're told by the media or by society or by the government. We believe it, and it's all crap, a whole lot of it. If we look at the past and look at how things were in the past, and they're written into books, a lot of that is non-reality. It's fantasy. It's been created on purpose to give us a past. But in reality, it's not. It's fantasy. That's a very hard one for people as individuals to accept. History is a joke. One of the big things this morning, which I said to JC, I took him to the book fair at school, and we had a look around. I said, mate, look, I said, this stuff's very expensive, mate. It's from $25 up, for what you're buying. You can buy this for pretty close to half the price in Big W. And I said that very quietly so nobody would hear me, so I didn't want to upset anyone. And I said, look at this one. I said, see this shelf system here? There's 4 shelves, and everything here, mate, is only $5. Look at the sign, $5. I said, look, there's some Transformer books that you like, $5. I said, look at that down there. He goes, oh, he said, that's a saber-toothed tiger. I said, yeah, it's A4 in size, in length, and the width is a bit narrower, and it's beautiful coloured inside. It's not thick, but what it's got on the front is the body of a saber-toothed tiger. But it's only plastic, but it shows it. But the history of what humanity understands about saber-toothed tigers is not reality, because the bodies that they found and researched were from all young saber-toothed tigers, the babies, the kids. The reason their bones have not deteriorated completely in some situations is because when you're young, your bone density is actually stronger and will last longer underground. But when you get really old, your bones begin to break down because you're not taking in the nutrients that you would normally take in when you're young to keep your bones strong. That's something I discovered. And that's why my body, my bone structure is actually very strong. I've actually healed all my own cartilages. I mean, who does that? Okay? And yet, I talk about it, how easy it is to heal our own body. And it's all in your thinking. That's why we are amongst the most powerful entities upon this planet and even in other universes, because we have a full understanding of conscious awareness if we choose to. How to use our imagination.
Can you tell us how you were talking about imagination before? How does a person who wants conscious growth start using their imagination to help them out?
Okay, this is what I did, and I did this for years. I'm always saying that, but I did. I would sit in meditation very comfortably, so I wouldn't have to let my head fall down. I'd always sit, leaning back and put my hands on my heart or my legs, and I would literally just see the beautiful light started to shine from my heart. And then I would expand that light throughout every chakra in my body, from down at my toes all the way up to my head. Then I would see it emanate out of my skin, all around my aura, making me a total ball of white light. Then I would say, I am imagination. I go beyond logic. I go beyond logic. I go beyond logic because I believe in my mind. My mind is beyond my brain. My mind is beyond my brain. My mind is beyond my brain. My brain is a physical organ. My mind is pure energy. It is unlimited, not like my human brain. Anything that is physical is limited because we are not given the right information to keep that physical part of us healthy. And what we put into our bodies changes everything. But the mind, it doesn't feed off what you put into your body. It feeds off direct energy, which is living energy. So by using your imagination and really believing it, as you sit there, visualize something. If you don't see it, it doesn't matter. But see yourself doing something. What I do, and I do it even today, and it's helped me 100%. I will see myself coming out of my body. And once I'm out, I see myself turn. I face myself and smile. And I say, I love you. Body, I love you. And then I will turn and I'll go out wherever I go. But I see myself going through the wall. I see myself going up into the sky. And I say to myself, I am now going to fly. And I see myself flying, doing all these different things. I even see myself going over the water. The imagination will become so powerful that you will literally see yourself going over the water. Then I let my hand go down, I touch the water, and I say, the water is cool. The water is cool. I even bring up a little bit of water and I touch it on my tongue. I love the salt. I love the salt. That is self-awareness. You are teaching yourself to go beyond your conditioning in your logical understanding. You're stepping beyond it. The problem is with us here on this planet, the aliens know, and they have been here for millions of years, they know that if you use your pineal gland, you can connect to the outer universes, whether it's through spirit world or higher vibrations. But they discovered a chemical that's called fluoride. So they put fluoride into toothpaste. They told the public through the governments that fluoride helps prevent tooth decay, which is 100% an absolute lie. It's a poison, toxin, chemical. And if you put that into your body constantly, it goes directly to your pineal gland and literally encases it. And it prevents you from communicating to higher levels of understanding. But what it does do, it prevents you from using or understanding your mind being your greatest gift. So you'll never connect to those higher realms, those higher vibrations, because your pineal gland is your direct link. Once you clean that and get rid of all that toxic poison that has encased your pineal gland, you then do that same exercise over a week, over a month, over a year, over 10 years. And you will grow consciously in your own self-awareness. And when you do that, your imagination through your mind will become so powerful that you can actually bring forth knowledge. And one of the great gifts that I'm now permeating within is my imagination to write books. Before, when I was in Adelaide, it wasn't there. Talking about knowledge, not a problem. Trying to formulate it and put into book form, big problem. But I started. back in 1979 when I wrote a film script. But also, I wrote a story every month when I had the old website called Simplicity of Spirituality. And that went all around the world. And I got lots and lots and lots of emails saying thank you or asking questions. And that's why those questions and answers, a part of them went into my book called The Book of Knowledge, I Am Alien. So the power to begin anything is within your thinking. And when you get your thinking at a level, you can then use it to actually open your mind. And your mind then will become your reality, and you will know how to use your imagination to create or manifest what you want from life. But the biggest thing is creating, I suppose, harmony in your life. So you are no longer tied up to the old conditioning. And that's one of the greatest lessons to learn, is to let go.
To let go of your conditioning, to face fears, to let go, to release the conditioning.
It's the beginning, Michael, for everyone. The reason I say that with such power is because I did it. And I'm still doing it. And my imagination is becoming more powerful. I think one day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to realize that I'm no longer in my body because my body blew up. It's gone, finished, done. I'm now living energy, and I've come back and created the body. And that's what I was talking about the other day. Through your imagination, which is your most powerful gift, when you go into spirit world and you think about making your body solid, over a period of time, it'll become your reality. And that's when you really start to believe that you are so much more than just your physical self.
Oh, that's good.
You try this exercise, Michael, when you finish with me, when you got a few moments you want to do it, when you want to do it.
Yeah.
Just go to your bathroom. I want you to put your hands on the bench and stare into the mirror. I want you to look at yourself, and I want you to say, I am the power source of all things. I can create because I have a mind that is powerful enough to bring forth my imagination and to make me grow consciously. Do it as many times as you want to over the next, say, 2 or 3 months. And when you're ready, let me know and tell me what you feel has changed in your thinking. Not your life, your thinking. Because your physical life is like a blink of your eyes, and you're gone, and you're back in spirit. But when you're a spirit, you're forever. You're ageless, timeless, and endless, and limitless. But we are limited here physically because of our conditioning, and that's the sad part. And most of us will never, ever break it. And if they do, it's got to be a couple of 100,000 years down the track.
So compared to the physical things that we get up to in our incarnations, it's really about noticing and releasing the conditioning and the karma that we notice is a part of us that is limiting us. That's where it's at.
Absolutely.
That's like what to get up to in your life. That's what's worth it.
Yes.
Wow.
It is. Just always remember within your heart. I know we've said it many times. What you think, you become. What you feel, you can become. So if you want to become something, you have to think it and feel it and know it's your truth. And through your mind, you can learn to use your imagination to its fullest. And that's really, really important.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. It's a formula for awakening and taking charge of your life.
Yeah, It is. It is. And when you do take charge of your life, It makes you feel really good because you begin to realize that you're the greatest person who can make all the decisions in your life and the right ones. But when you judge things constantly, should I make this decision? Oh, no, no. Should I make this decision? Oh, no, no. Well, that's how your life turns out. No, no, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, I got a question. I just popped into my head. What's it? Do they have roads and traffic in Nakaris, and specifically, do because they wouldn't have traffic lights like we have traffic lights. They'd have something totally different or nothing at all. What's the case?
There are no such things as traffic lights. It's not a great thing about vehicles driving on roads. There are roads, a bit different when it comes to shape and their destinations and all that. There's more roads actually in what is called the country, and they do have some form of traffic lights, but not the way we have them. The traffic lights don't have poles or electricity wires. They literally just orb. They're like orbs, and they're engineered and designed to stop normally, and they just have one light. They have purple, which is go, and then black, which is stop. That's all they have. But mainly in the city areas, there's no such thing as that because a lot of vehicles travel in the air, and they have sensors built into all their airborne Hummers that any traffic around is notified instantly. Like it just beeps and tells you that there's traffic. It shows you what's actually coming, what's going. So you either slow down or you go faster to avoid it.
Is it also possible that they kind of just press a button on the vehicle and say, get me to the other place, and it'll just do it in the most cleanest way?
Yes.
And so a lot of our vehicles are the same. So it's just a flow, a good flow.
Yeah, they actually also have automatic pilot.
Yeah.
And I mean automatic pilot. Their sensors are built all around the ship, so they know exactly what is going on. So there's never any collisions. As far as my memory can remember, I don't think there's ever been a collision.
Wow.
Because there's no penalties. You know, if something was destroyed, they would just vaporize it and replace it with a new one. You know, to the owner or the customer who has the possession of it. So it's pretty easy.
Purple is go, black is stop.
Yeah. Purple is go and black is stop. But that's mainly on the massive, if you want to call them freeways, highways, whatever, or roads to their destination. And occasionally you'll find there are lights at certain intervals. They do have a similar situation when it comes to roundabouts, but there is also the same lighting system around roundabouts if there is any traffic. So there is no collisions or no waiting time or that type of stuff. Yeah. And they have like, well, what would you call them? You know how you have a tow truck?
Mm-hmm.
Well, say there was a collision. It's not actually a tow truck. It's a Hummer designed about 4 times the size of a normal one or 5 times. And what it does, it'll just come along and project an energy and just lift that energy up and put the vehicle inside the actual Hummer and then take it off to where it's got to go. So there's nothing driving on the road. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't travel like we do, mate. They just don't. The Nakarons don't travel a lot. Of course, they got so much, how would you say, interesting things to do where they actually live. So they do a lot of walking. Because there's no time factor, they walk a lot and they meet up with people, they talk, they'll go and sit in the park somewhere and just talk. Then they'll get up and they'll go to their destination. It's very differently formulated for the individual.
And did you say they don't use them much, but in every town centre they have portals to all the other towns?
They do have, yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yes. That's very cool. They don't have just one, mate. Like in a town, they might have 50 in the major towns, where even more sometimes, where a lot of people can just go to their destination. They realized a long time ago that if you're not, how would you say, if you're not really lower in consciousness, being third dimensional, there is no need to concern themselves with the atoms not formulating back together. But when you're at a conscious level, say, of an Acharon, they don't have the fat structure like we do on Earth. We're up and down like yo-yos because of our emotions. They don't have those emotions at all. So there's none of that. So there's no reason for any concern. They can just get into one of those things. They say that they just speak out. No buttons. They just speak out. Damara, please. Damara is actually a city on the Karas. And they'll just say, Damara, please, at this point. And that's exactly where you'll go, to that point in that city.
Wow. So if a normal, just basic human was to try and go through the same portal, they'd actually have, would the portal still handle them, or would it go, no, thank you?
No, that would reject you, mate.
Yeah. Okay.
They'll reject. They won't be up. They'll just say, not able to send, not able to send.
Yeah.
They won't insult you or anything, but they'll just say basically that. They'll speak out. There'll be a voice come over. But no human would ever be on that planet anyway.
No, I just find it fascinating that this,
But they wouldn't be able to, mate.
yeah, humans are all about in the science of when you teleport something, you have to get the atoms exactly the same place back where they were, and that's the whole big issue. Whereas you guys have figured it out in your own way on a higher level.
Well, they figured it out a very long time ago, and it's just improved as they've gone through their own evolution. I mean, if you have a civilization that don't kill billions of animals to survive, and you're a full-on vegetarian, and that's your diet, well, your whole structure of your atoms are lighter, stronger, and less complicated. Especially with all the Charons with the same form of energy. The only difference is their thinking. They can think on a conscious level, but also on a community level, if they wish to.
I see. Really? Yes. And they can obviously, they can. What's the word? They use telepathy whenever they like as well. Yeah.
Exactly. And they can send a message to anyone over the planet, right, to their intellect, and they will then know exactly what that person is doing, or when they're coming, or what design that they've just sent them, and they can reproduce the exact item that's been sent to them telepathically. It's quite interesting. Very, very different.
Yeah, I know you said because they have, I think, 3 suns, that it's basically always light. My question is actually not about the lightness, but in the structure of the day, because it's not like us that go to bed and sleep for, say, 8 or so hours, and then we're up and we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner or something. What do they do when it comes to meals? Like, how often do they eat? Do they eat a lot or a little? What's that structure like?
They don't. Well, it has changed over their evolution. It was very different, let's say 1 million years ago, or 2 million years ago, or 10 million years ago. It was very different. They would eat like 4 times a day because of their body size and the amount of energy. But as evolution progressed and they became less and less in eating 4 meals, they only have now 2 meals a day. Right at this present time in our human history, they would be having 2 meals a day. Their meals are not solid or heavy like ours is. Like probably 72% of the population, they eat a big piece of steak and puffy potatoes and all that type of stuff, or heavy bread. Well, that type of food takes a lot to digest. And also, if your system isn't functioning pretty well, say at least 65 to 70%, you then put on weight because it all turns to sugar because you're not using the energy. And these elite criminals, they're forcing us, teaching us to eat bigger meals because they're taking the nutrition out of the food, all forms of food. And that causes a lot of issues when it comes to nutrition in a human body. So you've got to eat more. Now, you go to America, I haven't been there, but I've read about it, I've seen it. They have a burger that would be at least, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, between 5 and 6 times bigger than the burgers here. I mean, that's just, and the patty, like the patty's like, it's got to be at least 15 centimeters or 18 centimeters in diameter, probably a little bit more, maybe 20 centimeters. Then they've got this bread roll that's huge, thick. And then all the stuff they put on it, the amount of tomato sauce and fillings and everything. I mean, how do you open your mouth to eat that? I got a bad enough time when I make a burger myself, opening my mouth to eat it. Let alone putting an American burger into my mouth or a pizza.
Mm. And so you're saying the Nicaragуan's meals is a lot less dense?
Yes, mate. Very much. Very much. They don't need to eat high density food. The food that they eat has sufficient protein and all the other nutrients that a body would actually need to function. They do have drinks like what we have. They create them, and the nutrient contents would probably be about 8 to 10 times more than, say, spirulina. And when you take that in the morning, you don't want to eat till about 2 in the afternoon. And then you might not eat till, say, 11 at night because there's no such thing as nighttime. If they feel they want to lay down, when they go into their homes or apartments or whatever they may be, they have button systems or soft touch button systems where they just press, these blinds come down that will seal out the light 100%, and the room becomes dark, like you're walking in blackness. That way they can lay down and feel totally at peace and totally in harmony. And then they can open it up and the sun's there. Perfect. And the sun is never scorching. That's the interesting part about the three suns. They are not scorching heat because of their evolution, the way they think. The way we think on this planet is negative in many cases. So we're projecting negativity, and we're basically saying, get hotter, get hotter, get hotter. And it does. Guess what we ask for?
Yeah, that sounds a little wacky, but I've heard you say this before, and I have kind of resonated with that. Yeah. I think someone else listening to this thinking, how does our thoughts affect the weather that affects us? But it is a thing, isn't it?
Oh, mate, 100% in every moment of humanity's existence. And if you look at the reality, the truth of what is going on, when you dump the amount of chemtrails and chemicals, I call them chemicals, into the atmosphere, whether it's all over America, Australia, Europe, UK, when you dump all that type of stuff, the amount of problems it is causing is just phenomenal, not just to the human health, but to everything we consume, water, food, everything. It affects us so much. It changes even our level of thinking because we're being so inundated into, say, how would you say, with chemicals that affect our level of understanding, our level of thinking. And also controlling. That's what it's all about, is controlling us.
Yeah, I actually ran into a reel on Facebook that I just sent to Misha just 20 minutes ago And it's a quote from Rockefeller back in the early 1800s or something, or so, like a long time ago, in the 1800s, I guess. And it was kind of like almost maybe a mission statement or something of how Rockefeller was planning to just destroy us in every kind of way and have us not know about it. Oh, amazing! Have you heard that written script?
No,
Like,
no, no.
oh man,
Send it to me.
I
Did
will.
you send?
Yeah. Amazing. This woman's. She wrote it. She reads it out for about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I read an article on Rockefeller about 100 years ago, and he was talking about if you ever want to control the population, you have to demoralize them. You have to keep immunizations going constantly and put in whatever you want to control. It's all about embarrassment. It's all about control. And it's all about taking away the things that you actually enjoy. Now, the funny thing is, something is in my memory is telling me that there's this guy, he was reading something, and it was to do with the Rockefellers. And I'm just wondering if that's the same thing. It could be, may not be.
And this was a woman that was reading it out. She was seeing it in
Well,
front of her, reading it out.
the one I saw was a man, and an older man, and that's not that long ago. And he was talking about how do you destroy a civilization, and it was very interesting to actually hear it, and it's very true. It's very, very true. We take away the things that civilization needs, and we also destroy it, and we then demoralize them. We make them become fearful of everything, even their own family, all these things. And that does, mate. It causes so many wars, so many violent acts. It's incredible.
And poison their environment in every way. And when they come to us for medicine, we'll give them stuff that they think is good, which is actually bad. Makes them worse. They have to keep coming back and back. And ugh.
I mean, our waterways, mate, are toxified. Our oceans are toxified. You know, I say to people sometimes, they say, don't you even eat fish? I said, no. Even if I wasn't a full-on vegetarian, I still wouldn't eat fish. And they said, why? I said, because all the fish is loaded with toxins that have been dumped into the oceans for the last 50, 60 years. Well, what about, like, you know, eating beef? I said, no. I said, what goes into an animal that you call a cow and a chicken and all the other animals is really bad. The antibiotics, they totally destroy the human immune system. And I said, all the other things, it's causing so many problems. The synthetic hormones, it's totally destroying the representation of what is a woman and what is a man. And they're all becoming homosexuals, or they're not sure about what their sex is. I mean, I had two this morning at the school. There were two people standing there, and they had these blue shirts on with KFC on the back, really bright blue, and all these different signs all over it. And they were definitely lesbians. Not being disrespectful, but there is a lot of emotional issues around people. When people become huge, you know what I mean, don't you?
When you say huge, you mean large in size?
Large in size, yeah, like putting a lot of weight on,
Yes.
especially in the lower area of their body.
Uh-huh.
That means that they have a tremendous amount of negative emotions that have been swallowed over many years for whatever reason.
Sure.
A lot of those women who end up lesbians, no disrespect to that form of understanding, but if you went back and saw what took place when they were young, percentage-wise, they were either sexually molested or interfered with all the way, which caused what they are today. They either hate men, where with young boys who have been sexually molested or whatever, they end up hating women because their mummy didn't protect them. It goes both ways. So they bear all those negative emotions of hurt for years and years. And suddenly they got these appearance, I won't say what it is, but these appearances to make themselves look like they're a man, but they're a woman. And I say this many times, and I don't care who they are. I don't care what they are. And I don't care what the law says. If they don't deal with their emotions, they will never have a peaceful existence because they force themselves to live a certain way because of their created emotions from when they were a child. And that's what they turn out to be. And that's really sad. They've lost their identity, all because of some mongrel that did what they did to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is sad because they have to go through their lifetimes, future lifetimes can be tainted by just one event. You could say it's karmic that it happened in the first place, but still, he shouldn't have done what he had done. That's not supposed to happen.
No, that's right. That's very true. Very true indeed. One of the things that I wanted just to add to something we spoke about either the other day or a few days ago or last week, I'm not sure. But it's about finding health, finding a way of becoming more healthier than what we are. Because health is the first step to conscious awareness. And when we start to look at that, we start to realize that we can change our life through our thinking, through our actions. And we do have to put the action into anything if we want to succeed, whether it's to do with our health or our life, our relationships, or anything else. The sad part, and I said this before, and I'll say it again, most people who carry a lot of emotion always attract into their life the same form of emotion from somebody else that has experienced similar circumstances. I know someone in my other side of my family that brought a person into their life, being a woman who was sexually assaulted, and he was sexually assaulted. And they both won't look at themselves. They both won't resolve the issues. And that's the part that holds us back from growing and having a very happy, peaceful, balanced life. Because our decisions are made from the same old energy that created those emotions to begin with, and we don't move beyond it. And sometimes, no matter how much you advise or you talk or you give some form of understanding or knowledge, they'll go against you and they'll even blame you for whatever reason. And it's really sad when you see people like that and they don't want that change. Health is the beginning of change, because when you start to take recognition of what has occurred in your life and you want to resolve it, you start to look at things differently, especially when it comes to what you're eating. If you keep eating the same junk that's very toxified when it comes to being poisoned by the elite criminals, and that is 100% honestly truth, 100% truth. When we start putting in good food, which is good nutrition, when we start putting in the right water that doesn't have fluoride, that's a big step. Yes, it becomes a little costly, but it's better than being that way. And then if you have children, pass on the same chemical garbage onto them from your genetics, because that's what's happening. It's like disease. How many children at a young age have diseases? And it either comes from the family or the grandparents or their grandparents. It gets passed down through the genetics, and something emotionally sets that off. And that starts to cause the issue of disease. And that's why health is 100% important. My son said something this morning to me very interesting. He said, Daddy, he said, if I want to feel good, what do I do? Do I, you know, tell myself, or do I go and exercise like you do? I said, yeah, a little of both. But say this, I live in perfect health. My body is changing for the positive in every moment of every breath. I feel 100% healthy. I am healthy. I don't believe in disease because disease is a creation of the elite criminals. Now, you might say, hang on, how could the elite criminals cause all this disease all over the world? It's called the pharmaceutical companies. And if the real reality is research to what's in their so-called medications, which is literally synthetic, which causes problems to begin with, they would discover things in that medication that should not even be there, and it's not even listed, but it's under another name. Doesn't tell you the truth. So when you start to realize that you're starting to change how you feel about your health, you don't need to take drugs or medication anymore, because you're learning to deal with your emotion. And when you learn to deal with your emotions, suddenly you start to smile from inside outwardly, and it makes you feel better. And then you keep doing it and doing it and doing it. So when you have children, those children will be a lot more happier. Today, the amount of children that are getting sick is absolutely ridiculous. 100%. It should never be, and it never was in the past, but it is today. So health is the most important issue for any single individual or families or societies or countries or worlds. Change all that, it changes our thinking 100%. And I tell you, by changing our thinking, we will wake up, and I said this only the other day, we'll wake up and we'll realize who the actual real criminals are, and we'll deal with them permanently. And our society and our future generations will be uplifted and have a lot more fun and a lot more smiles. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it is in our thinking that if we want to choose to feel good, to be happy, it's right there, isn't it? It is an option.
100%.
If we're not feeling that way, we're getting caught up in our emotions.
Yep. I challenge anyone right here, right now. I challenge you as an individual, whoever you are, wherever you are. Do this very small affirmation for 1 month, but do it at least 5 to 10 times per day, and do it from your heart. Put your hands over your heart, whether you're facing a mirror in the bathroom, in the bedroom, in the kitchen, if you're alone, in the car, whatever. Put your hands over your heart and just press a little and say, I love my heart and I can change. I love my heart and I can change. Do that for an entire month. Now you may say, oh my God, I'll never remember that. That's only an excuse not to change, because you're fearful of change. But just say, I love my heart and I want to change. Or, I love my heart and I will change. And keep saying it at least 10 times per day. And get your family. If you've got a family, tell your kids, please try what daddy or mummy's showing you, and do it. and get your kids to do it. I mean, I got an 8-year-old boy, and again, this morning I said to him, I said, say this: I live in complete health. I live in complete health. He said it 10 times, and he meant it, because I didn't even tell him to put his hands on his heart, and he did. There's something in him that wants to make his life better. Oh, by the way, just very quickly, I'll tell you the little thing that I was going to tell you yesterday. It's not so fantastic, but to me, it's a miracle in itself. I went down to the backyard to do the mowing, right, and whipper snipping. And I did the whipper snipping, which wasn't a problem because it's different petrol. It's got oil mixed in it. The mower is 4-stroke, so you use straight petrol. And I picked up the 10-litre container. I think it's 20-litre container, and it's just got a dribble of petrol, and I mean a dribble. It was so light, and I said, "Oh shit!" So I went to the mower and I looked at it. I said, "Oh, that's right. The tank's empty because it ran out just as I was bringing the mower back down to the backyard after I finished mowing the last time I mowed." So I said, "Oh, damn it! I got to go and get petrol." I said, "Come on, just manifest some petrol for God's sakes." I went to pick up the actual container, and it was heavy. And I said just before that, I said, all I want is enough petrol to the top, just so lets me mow the yard. Bugger. And that's when I picked it up. And I said, hang on, this has got petrol in it. So I opened it up, put the snout on it, poured it, and went right to 6 mil off the top. It filled up to the top, 6 mil down. And I said, you got to be kidding me. Where the hell did this petrol come from? There was no petrol. It was a dribble in this container. And it filled up. A voice, a very deep voice, says to me, believing is seeing. Seeing is knowing that you manifested. And that was it. That was the voice.
Wow.
And I was really surprised. So I got enough petrol to fill my tank.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah. That is a miracle. Wow.
In itself, mate.
Yeah.
That's happened to me on a couple of other occasions with different things in the last probably 3 or 4 years. But I've been doing a lot of manifestation, little exercises. So it's very possible that living energy just came into reality as petrol.
Fantastic.
It is interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's silly, but honestly, Michael, from my heart, that container had a dribble of petrol. I could hardly get it out. And I said, oh, great. But then it had enough to fill the tank down just by 6 mil. And it mowed the whole yard, which was brilliant.
Wow, nice one. That's a good little story. Yeah, that's cool.
Just thought I'd share that.
This concludes another episode of Kuntarkis. If you'd like to find out more about Kuntarkis, find his website, which is etcconsciousness.com. He has articles there, he has his books listed there, and also if you have any reason to contact us in general for any reason, just email kuntarkis@gmail.com. That's it for now. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Michael Yon, and stay tuned for more.